Hi.
Hi, Miranda.
So excited to talk to you. Today we're going to be talking to Renee Stringer, CEO of Dealty. Renee, how are you? Especially, with everything that's been going on. So I'm super excited to learn about, what you've got going. So, let's just kind of jump into it. What is Dealty?
So, Dealty is an online platform, to put it simply, where people can buy, sell, search for homes.
That's it's everything that you need to do with a house: buy, sell, search. Kind of what kind of caused you to found the company?
Well, I've been in real estate since 1999. I know that makes me sound a little older, but I was very young when I got into it. and I started out helping first time home buyers purchase properties. And then I moved into the luxury division. And then I moved into land and development. And then the REOs hit, as you know, probably being in the Valley, you experienced that and you saw it happen firsthand. And I went in 2008 and I opened my own brokerage.
Mhm.
And we focused primarily on REOs, and we had offices here in Arizona. We had two of them, and then we expanded into Washington State. So we opened two more offices there as well. We had very good relationships with banks, asset managers, and we just continued to expand. And that went on for a few years, as you know, until the market saw some recovery again.
Mhm.
And, all along the way, and the different types of markets that we've seen, we've seen fast paced, we've seen where the world just kind of stopped one day. And, there's been a lot of changes in the industry for sure recently.
Mhm.
Uh, Being in the business myself, sometimes I'm a little confused by the commercials you hear and what does this company do? And,
Mhm.
there's iBuyers now out there. If people are
Mhm.
familiar with what an iBuyer is, they purchase your home from you so you can skip the whole listing process and all of that. And then there's discount brokerages now. So there's a lot of changes. But really, there's nothing that has yet opened the platform entirely to everybody.
Mhm.
So we don't compete with iBuyers. We don't compete with brokerages. We're not a brokerage. We're not looking to purchase your home from you. We're looking to give you the tools so that you can make those decisions yourself.
Mhm.
So iBuyers should be on our platform. They should have their listings on our platform. We're in no way a threat to them.
Mhm.
And so, really, what makes us different than the ones that have been doing this for years, the online platforms that have been showing the listings and allowing buyers to view the listings and, browse on there, what makes us different, the significant part, is that we're not selling clicks to agents. We're not selling
Mhm.
your lead or your desire to learn about a house to somebody. When you click on some listing, and whoever the lister is, whether it's a for sale by owner, whether it's a home builder, whether it's a listing agent, whether it's an iBuyer brokerage, you're going to get that one directly. Whoever
Mhm.
listed it is who you're speaking with. And that is the biggest difference with us. And it's absolutely free. So there's no charge. And we're not trying to bait and switch or sell you something you didn't know you were getting.
Yeah, I bought a home in December, and one of the most stressful parts for me was when I was searching on Zillow and I would want to maybe learn more about a home, and I would hit, contact me about this home, and then I would get six or seven phone calls from different agents trying to
Instantly. Isn't it
instantly,
instant?
and it
Yeah.
kind of it creeped me out. I like
It's
would
so
be
instant. As soon as you hit send, I've done it because we all travel. We're
yeah.
curious. There's that beautiful home on the boardwalk, and you're like, I wonder what that is. You go on Zillow and you just want to ask a simple question, and then all of a sudden you're bombarded with solicitations. You're then sold to mortgage brokers. You're
Mhm.
sold to all kinds of agents.
Yeah, and just the ongoing are you interested in this, lenders calling you, and it was so stressful and exhausting, and I was almost like, if I'm not 100% convinced that I'm going to put an offer in this home, if it's not my dream home, I don't even want to bother asking about it.
And if you
um
stop answering your phone, more will just continue to call until
yeah,
you do.
so I ended up finding a home that was literally being sold by the person who was also the real estate agent, so I'm like, okay. And it just, it was such a barrier to entry, especially in a market that was already so competitive.
Exactly, exactly.
And I mean, I one of the things that I'd love to kind of talk about is, especially in Arizona right now, the market is very competitive. There are a lot of people that are wanting to get into homes. People are, in quarantine or staying in their homes for so long that they're like, we need to get a new place. I'm finally ready to sell my home. I'm finally ready to buy a home. How do you think that that's changed the market's scope right now?
Right. It is really interesting. It's something that we didn't anticipate. I don't think anybody really did see that coming.
Mhm.
Last year when things shut down and things changed for a lot of businesses, we all thought even real estate was going to stop. You could read all the predictions, go back and read, and they thought it was going to be devastating. And it was the
Mhm.
complete opposite, right? And so people are getting more for their homes than they ever thought they would because the
Mhm.
inventory is so limited. In fact, I recently purchased with my husband a house in Idaho, and it is the same exact thing in Idaho. So I'm not
Wow.
licensed in Idaho, but I just went ahead and did like what you did, and I was shopping for a house, and then when I found one that I liked, I worked with them directly, and
Mhm.
it worked out well for us. For him, it was an easy transaction. He didn't have to have a ton of people in there, but everybody's experiencing the same thing from what I've seen. California, Washington,
Mhm.
all these states, as soon as the property hits the market, unless it's outrageously priced, it's selling instantly. And
Mhm.
so that has had a big effect on our site because you literally can just put a sign in the ground right now and get your home sold. You can.
Literally, that's what's happening.
Or just tell your neighbor, and I bet they have somebody that wants to buy it. So it's
Yeah.
an unbelievable market for sure.
Yeah, I mean, that literally happened in my neighborhood. The house across the street from me went up for sale, and I think it was under contract before I saw it even being posted on
Right.
Zillow.
And it takes a
Um,
few days to get online sometimes,
yeah,
and it's already pending. Right.
yeah. And I mean, in addition to the growth journey of the real estate market, I'd love to learn more about the growth journey of your company.
Sure. So we started right before the things shut down. And so we started in Arizona. And obviously, that's where we are located. Our office
Mhm.
is located. We know the market really well. And then we tried to test the market and expand into Washington and just see, because that's the other market we know really well. But they
Mhm.
do things very different than Arizona does. However, it is a state where people move to and from Arizona very
Mhm.
regularly. There's a lot of people in Arizona from Washington. And so it is another state where people move often, list, and so and the in okay, so in Dealty, the for sale by owners have been an extraordinary response for us.
Mhm.
They are so excited to have an option to go to and list their home. They go to Zillow, they list it, but they're getting their information sold. They're
Mhm.
getting Zillow wants to buy their house. They're getting Zillow's now a brokerage, so I'm sure they're probably referring them to agents too. So
Mhm.
even though they think they know what they want to do, they're trying to be sold all along the way. So when
Mhm.
we came on, people were very receptive to it and they were just extremely excited. I mean, I can honestly tell you, Miranda, I was a little bit shocked by it. I'm like, people are just going to our site. They don't know us. They're trusting us with their information and they're putting it on. Like, that's how badly they want something
Mhm.
transparent and just honest to sell their home, right? There's no middleman. It's just easy. The one thing that I would like to share and hopefully get the word out on is that we've had a lot of pushback from agents
Mhm.
because of the environment and what other sites have done. So an agent puts the listing in MLS, and
Mhm.
MLS sells the listing to all these other sites, right?
Mhm.
Then those sites are now selling that listings leads to other agents, as we talked about, right?
Hmm.
So agents are very hesitant on our site. They're like, "What are you going to do with my listing? Why am I going to trust you with my listing? Who are you going to sell all my leads to?" And I
Mhm.
just want to say and reiterate that we are not in competition with agents. I
Mhm.
personally use an agent when I go to sell my properties. I
Mhm.
think there will always be a need for agents. There's been a lot of talk for years. Will agents ever be eliminated? Will it all go full tech? I
Mhm.
don't believe it ever will. I think there will always be a need for great agents. People want to use them. So I'm not concerned about that. They shouldn't be concerned about that. What we want to do is keep your listing your listing. and you get your lead. We are truly the only platform that does that. Maybe then, no, I'm going to say not even your own brokerage does that, because I've gone to brokerages and I've contacted, somebody on there to get to that listing agent. And sometimes they try to give you to somebody else in their office who's available. So it's not 100% you're going to get that listing agent. So we want you to get your lead. We're not in competition with you. We're just trying to make it a very transparent platform for everybody to use.
I mean, that's amazing. And it kind of brings me to my next question. I'm getting a little bit of an echo.
Oh, I don't hear it.
Oh, good. So kind of my next question is, it was really well received within the market. There was some hesitation with, maybe some of the other brokers, and, things are starting to settle out. Who's the primary client that's going on your platform? Is it literally people going to list their site, or, are you seeing more agents listing it? Who's the people that are listing?
Yes. So home builders are receptive to it, because if you think about it, they're not really on some of those other platforms, all of their listings, and definitely the for sale by owners, and agents are definitely warming up to it, but it's taken a lot longer than we would have liked to see. And, one of the things that MLS does now, they created this new rule a year ago, and a lot of people are not aware of it, even agents aren't, is that if you take a listing now, you can no longer have it be an exclusive pocket listing. You're required to put it in MLS, required. So that changes things for the client quite a bit, because there are clients who hire certain agents who they know have a huge network, have a lot of experience in the area. They could probably just network it and get it sold. And that's being eliminated. And I don't think that we're now in a position. Things have changed so much that when you're trying to control the market and trying to ensure MLS that you have control of all the listings so that you can sell it to who you want to sell it to, Zillow, and other third-party sites, that things tend to backfire, And I think that agents will soon feel like they're getting used on all fronts, and they're not being protected like the organization once promised us that they would. So with everything so readily available on the internet now, there's no reason to play those kinds of games. If an agent wants to put it in MLS and the client doesn't want them to put it in MLS, they shouldn't have to do that. But that's not where we are anymore. Everybody is forced to do that. So anyway, that's we'll see what happens on that. Time will tell, but I do think that transition is going to take place with agents waking up and going, this isn't right anymore. It's not right for my clients. It's not in their best interest. And that's really what we need to look at.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're spot on right there. It's going to be this moment where they wake up and they're like, there might be a better way to do this.
Yeah. Well, and the reason that this hasn't been done in the past, to make it open and transparent and give everyone the free right to operate and do business the way that they like, and I mean the agents and the homeowners, is there's just been too much revenue to be made off of selling agents advertising. That's what they do. All these sites try to sell agents advertising, and really they don't need to buy any advertising if they were just the agent that was easily accessible on the listing, right? That would be all they really need, and not try to steer people elsewhere.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. Having the ability to just be seen is half the battle. And, speaking of being seen, you said that you're currently in Arizona as well as Washington. What does that path look like? Are you guys just really going to, stick with those two regions? Are you expanding? What's your plan?
Well, it's interesting because some days we just all of a sudden get a listing, in South Carolina or Texas, and we've had quite a few in Florida already, and we really haven't done any marketing or tried just to go in that direction yet, because we really want, when you go on our platform, we really want to, it's like the chicken and the egg. What comes first? You have to have enough traffic, but you have to have enough listings for everyone to look at, right? So which is going to come first? And people aren't willing to bother putting their listings on if you don't have the traffic to prove, right? So we have to be careful of the expansion to make sure we have enough inventory to keep the traffic and make it beneficial for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, there's something to be said. There are so many homes and so much real estate happening in Arizona, kind of really maximizing how that works and going
Right.
from there. And I mean, come to think of it, now that I'm remembering your name, I'm almost positive that my stepmom just listed a house on your site too. She said
Oh,
that she had
really?
found it. Yeah, I guess she was talking about how Zillow was trying to charge her or something like that, or trying to figure.
Charge for something now.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. And she's like, I don't want to do that. And that was a big deterrent. And then she was searching around, and I think that's how she found you guys. So I was thinking
Fantastic.
through, I was like, just organic searches, like you said.
Yeah, great.
Um, yeah, I mean, I think that just giving the information out there, putting people in front of it, that's definitely the best way to go. But I mean, another question that I have is, I mean, you had to have had a lot of obstacles and hurdles along the way of developing this. What did that journey look like?
Yeah, well, I can tell you that I have three teenage children, all soon to be out of high school, and I have two stepchildren that are all in college, and none of them want to be in technology. None of them want to be coders. So that's really unfortunate for me because, I tell people nowadays, you don't want your child to grow up and be an attorney or doctor anymore. You're trying to get them to be a coder because
Yeah.
that is the largest expense you have in a business
Mhm.
like this. And so many businesses are going in the tech direction, no matter what
Mhm.
industry. So there will be jobs in that forever. So unfortunately, I don't have anybody in house that could help and oversee that part of it. And that's not my skill. Okay. Mine is real estate and
Mhm.
business, and I can do that. So really, the only challenge has been, the growth. Obviously we have so many ideas and so many tricks we want to add to the site, but we have to do it in a pace that we can manage. We are a small company at this point,
Mhm.
and though I would love to, flip all the switches like Zillow does and just create something new one day and add it to
Mhm.
the site, we have to go at a slower pace,
Mhm.
just because we are so small at this time. So slow and steady. I try not to dwell too much on what the competition is doing.
Mhm.
So, I mean, you could easily stay awake at night and talk yourself out of moving forward on a project if you thought about that too much. So,
Mhm.
I try to keep my hands on stuff and understand where everybody is, but I never really do too much research into what they're doing.
Mhm.
I just try to stay focused on what our end goal is, and that's providing a transparent, honest platform that really just lets you buy and sell real estate the way you want to, whether you want to use an iBuyer, agent, sell it on your own, or whatever. And so we're just going to provide the tools for everybody. And hopefully, our goal is obviously to be a household name like Zillow someday.
Yeah. I
I hope
mean,
people say I'm going to look it up on Dealty.
yeah, I mean, it's, more fun to say. I honestly, I like the name better, if I'm
I
being
didn't
honest.
even know how to pronounce Zillow for like 10 years. So it's like the Zillow, Zillow.
Yeah. There's this whole barrier to it. It's like, what? Well, I mean, I think that's great, but I mean, you had to have had a couple of moments hesitation. I mean, being a broker and having that experience, I have to imagine. I mean, you seem very intelligent. You seem like you would have done really well in that industry. Had to have been scary, the jump into technology.
For sure, because I am definitely somewhat of a control freak. And so I like to understand how everything works. And as I said, that's definitely not my skill. And
Hmm.
so not being able to control that aspect, or when there would be a bug and I just want to fix it myself, instead of go to tech and say, this is what's
Hmm.
going on. So that definitely being an entrepreneur, I think a lot of people that when they know a business and they know an industry so well and they have an idea to take it to tech level, I think that
Hmm.
is a barrier, and a lot of
Hmm.
people get intimidated by that. And I understand it completely. And, you can definitely go in the wrong direction and then have to pivot. So that's
Hmm.
another thing, is like you have to be open to change. And if what you're doing isn't working, pivot a little. Initially, when we started this site, it was for home sellers, and we thought there are so many people out there who could do this on their own. They ask me all the
Hmm.
time, I want to sell my home. Could you just help me with the paperwork, or could you do that? I mean, they've done that to agents for years, right?
Hmm.
And some agents will do it for flat rate or some minimal cost. But if there's no way for them to get the tools unless they go and do that, right? And so I just thought, why are we making this so captive? And why are all the secrets? And why hiding? And like, like I'm not afraid of competition. I think competition is good. I think that if you provide a great service or a great product, you're going to be recognized, and you have nothing to worry about. So I don't think that agents need to be threatened if people are wanting to sell their home on their own. I think that there's people who think they want to sell it on their own. And then if you were the one who was there to help and give them a little guidance, they eventually come back to you. That's what most of the time happens. So I like to see competition, and I think that it's good for the industry. My goal wasn't to make $1 billion here. Who knows where we will go. My goal was to really open up the industry secrets to everybody and make it equal. And I can tell you that when we started, I really thought that this was going to be a younger market, a younger target market. I thought, young people, they love technology. They think they know a lot. They could figure everything out on their own. I'm going to try to be really nice to my teenagers. So they think they know everything. And so I thought it was going to be them who, but when we rolled it out for test marketing, it really wasn't. It was, honest to goodness, it was 50 plus. And when it came down to it, it made a lot of sense. These are the people that have bought and sold a handful of homes at least in their lifetime, and they were comfortable with the process. So they didn't need a whole lot, right? They were very willing to go on the site and list it themselves. So that was surprising, and I think good, I
think you totally just described my stepmom.
They're very loyal clientele. They're awesome to work with. I mean, we have, like a lot of sites, we have that little intercom button at the bottom where you can talk to one of our customer support person if you are having an issue. How do I know my square footage, or how do I do it? Whatever the question is, and you'll get a response instantly. And I can tell you the people have just been wonderful to work with. And the clients and the users that we have on there are awesome. So that's been really good.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'd love to know if you could just walk me through the customer journey. So like, let's say someone's like, I want to sell my home. What would that look like?
Awesome. Okay, so we do have a little bit of a unique platform in that way too that I haven't yet touched on. So you go on there and you say, sell my home, right? Click the button. It's going to ask you your name, your email address, your phone number. Again, we don't sell any of this information. We're not looking to gather it and sell it off to somebody, an agent or a loan officer, nothing like that. We just need that so people can contact you. Then it's going to ask you your address, and it's going to give you a Google map after you put it in, and it'll say confirm. Is this your aerial view? Is this your house? You're going to say yes. Then it's going to take you through a series of questions, about 20 questions, and it's going to say, is this the correct square footage? You can change it if it's not. Is this the amount of bedrooms, the baths, all of that? And then it's going to ask you a little bit more personal, like, have you updated the kitchen in the last 3 to 5 years? Have you, done any, do you have granite in the kitchen? Have you done new appliances? Have you done new flooring? What type of flooring do you have? Hardwood, blah, blah, blah. It gets a little bit more down to it. Do you have a pool? Do you not have a pool? How would you rate your lot? Do you think you have a superior lot to your neighbors? Do you think, does it back a busy street? There's like 5 options on each question. And it's a very simple process. And then at the end, it'll give you a range, and it'll say, your house is worth between $450 and $475 based on how you answered the questions. Would you like to go ahead and set a price for your house now? You can set it at $850. It doesn't matter. You don't have to set it at our estimate or whatever. And then you go through and you upload photos. You can actually hit a button and hire a photographer if you don't have great photos to upload. So we have photographers who will do all over Arizona at this point at great prices. So you're getting the same photography that real estate agents get. So that's a real big plus. And then it's live. And our back team, we check and we make sure, if you put down that you were the homeowner, that's how you're selling this property, then we check and make sure that you are the homeowner. If you're the listing agent, that's fantastic. We double check on our data that you are a licensed agent in Arizona, but the listing's live. And if we come up with any issues, we will let you know. But Yeah, you're in control. You're an adult and you can handle it.
That's so funny. So I mean, what happens if you're the individual, you listed your home and someone puts in an offer? What does that look like?
So right now, the way that we have it is, so we have a few more little bells and whistles on there at the moment. You can request a tour of the property so you can go and see it in an open house, and you're going to get that agent or that lister, that homeowner, whoever listed it directly, and you'll schedule it with them back and forth. If you want a virtual tour, you would just schedule that, and it would be like on a Zoom call,
Mhm.
and they would take you around the house virtually. And then if you want to start an offer right now, you can absolutely do that on the platform. It will say start an offer, and you're
Wow.
talking to that person directly. You've got your name in there, you've got your contact information, and you will be messaging each other back and forth internally. You can counter the offer. It's going to, you put in the price you want, the closing date you want, and whether you're going to use cash or financing. And it will ask if you're pre-qualified or not yet. Not a big deal. No pressure to get pre-qualified on our site. And then it's going to send the offer. That's the start of the offer, right? Those are the bare minimums that everyone needs to know. Is this offer going to work for me? The purchase price, the closing date, and is this a cash buyer or finance, and are they qualified?
Mm-hmm.
So then after that, which isn't yet one of the pieces that are live, but I am very excited about, is at some point you're going to be able to accept the offer. Well, you can accept it now, but it will generate paperwork for you. So you will
Wow.
have a contract in hand that you can both take to the title company, send to your loan officer or whoever you need to send it to, and it will auto-populate. So that's what we're working on now. And that's what I think is a really important piece for people that are not represented by agents. Obviously, agents have paperwork, so they can do all of that negotiating back and forth and then put it on their own contract that their broker requires, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whatever state they're in. So that's how that would work.
Wow. I mean, it seems pretty easy. I love the part about just clicking and having a photographer show up. It's like magic.
And then you just buy it. I mean, it's like on eBay, right?
It's so funny. You're like, oh, you're like, I just bought a home. Like, I did that just happen? Well, I mean, I love it. How many homes have you kind of had listed on your site, or how's it going there?
A little over 2,000.
Wow.
And we have a few thousand shoppers a month looking on the site. I think it's going very well. I think that it's expanding rapidly. And like I said, everyone is very receptive to it. We need to earn the trust of agents more because I think that they've been burned so badly on other sites and that we're just not a competition to them. We are looking here to build them up, promote them. We will, do everything we can to help them sell their listing. And that's all we're about, nothing else.
I mean, I love it. I love that you're so welcoming and on all areas, on all fronts. You're saying, if you're selling your home, if you're listing it as a real estate agent, we take everyone. We're just trying to, cut out the selling of data, which is
Right.
something I think we're all getting sick of a
We're all
little
sick
bit.
of it, aren't we? In every industry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I think, I'd love to know a couple of thoughts on other, advice that you would give to other founders, someone kind of going down this journey themselves.
Absolutely. I think that if you're, entrepreneur and you're looking to, are you talking about like during this time in real estate specifically, or?
Everyone wants advice with real estate.
These poor agents, you're so lucky to have a listing right now. And I mean, it's like gold, you've got something everybody wants is a listing, a new listing about to hit the market, but I don't envy them at all because they are just bombarded with calls. They let anyone know about it, So I'd say be patient. The market's going to change. This is my real estate advice initially. So it will shift in the other direction. It will correct. We will see more supply come on, and let's hope that it shifts slowly enough for everyone to kind of keep up and keep track of everything, and we don't have too dramatic of a shift. That wouldn't be good. I wouldn't like to see that, though. We do need more inventory. We need it at a slow enough pace that we can take it.
Yeah, I mean, literally the house across the street from me, I saw the craziest for sale offer I've ever seen. It was like for sale, but already under contract. But we can take an offer if it's more than 10% of the. I was like, what?
Oh
This
my
is like the
gosh.
longest for sale sign I've ever seen, where it's like for sale, but not really. But if you can
That was
outprice,
all on the sign?
well, it was on like the flyer that they had.
Oh.
like like reading the information, I was like, you just put the sign up, it's already sold, but you're willing to like,
Right.
and it was the most competitive. It scared me a little bit. I was like,
I
whoa,
know,
like, is this
I
what
know,
listings are
I
going to
know.
be?
I know, and it
um
hasn't really slowed down yet, so we'll see. I mean, summer here, as you know, usually
mhm.
slows down significantly, kind of dies completely after the 4th of July, so it may slow down. We may get more
We'll
inventory during
see.
that time, and we'll see what happens, right? But yeah, I guess I would say to any entrepreneur in this time, with everything changing in the way that it is, be open to change. Don't dwell on pivoting. Go ahead and make that pivot. If you need to change, do it. Um,
Mhm.
and just don't hold on to something if it's not working any longer.
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole thing. And if you're going to fail, fail fast. If you're going to go for it, go for it. So I mean, I think we covered a lot, but I just want to make sure, is there anything that you'd like to speak more on about your company, or how people can, integrate, learn more, kind of explore listing with you?
Yeah, visit the site. Feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to honestly talk one-on-one with whoever, whether it's an agent, a seller, if anybody needs any real estate advice. I am licensed in Arizona, so I can give that as well. And I'm not looking for any listings, just to for myself personally. Okay, for Dealty, that would be awesome. But yeah, I just want to say that I don't think that one size nowadays fits everybody. I think that the iBuyer situation is great, and there's a need for that for people who need to sell maybe their mother or father's home, and they don't want to go through the hassle of listing it, and they just want somebody else to take care of the repairs. I think that's a fantastic option. And I think that, if somebody wants to list their home by themselves, I think we should support that. We shouldn't be intimidating them to do that. And I think, a lot of younger people actually are under the belief that you need to have an agent to list your home. When we were doing
Mhm.
some of the tests, I didn't even realize that that's what they thought. The commercials
Mhm.
have embedded that into their heads, that you need an agent in order to sell your own property. And that's not the case. And then with agents, don't dwell on how many agents there are out there or what the competition is. Do what you do best,
Mhm.
whatever that is, whatever you love to specialize in, just stay focused and tell everyone you're a real estate agent, and you'll be really successful. The
Yeah.
bottom line is be nice.
Yes.
I just honestly be nice. And if you are looking to hire an agent, people ask me all the time, all these sites, they say, we'll hook you up with an agent, we'll connect you, we've got all these experienced agents. You see those commercials all the time
Mhm.
now, and it's like, how do they know what kind of agent is necessarily going to fit you? So I'm a little skeptical on those. But the bottom line for me is, I always tell people, pick an agent that you like. Pick
Mhm.
somebody with a personality that suits you, and think of every single person that's going to want to see your property is going to reach them first, right? So
Mhm.
you don't want them to be abrasive or annoying, right?
Mhm.
Keep that in mind. You want them to be kind, friendly, and make sure they answer their phones when somebody's trying to get a hold of them.
Yeah.
That's the way you'll sell your house, is if you have a nice agent.
Yeah, and that's half the battle, is get a hold of someone.
Exactly.
Well, thank you so much for your time, and I have all the faith in the world that Dealty is going to do well. I think that it makes all the sense in the world with the platform, the market, the economy, the markets that you're in. I'm super excited to see where things go, and thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me today.
Thank you so much, Miranda. It's been a real pleasure.
Well, good.